Do you feel like 2024 went too fast? Did you have big plans and big goals when it started? I certainly did. And even though there was some good progress, truth be told, I feel bad that I didn't achieve more. If this sounds like you, here are 7 things that you need to hear to make sure 2025 is a year to remember. Let's get into it. The first thing you need to hear is no one cares about your goals. Stop telling people about them. It's a hard one to digest, but when we first start the new year and we make resolutions, you usually do this in some kind of group setting. And then you're like, okay, in the new year, I'm going to get ripped. I'm going to lose 30 pounds. I'm going to go traveling. I'm going to start this new hobby and this side project. And you start reeling off these ideas. Now, the act of actually planning, having goals and visualizing a better future for yourself is good. But what you're doing by telling all these people is you're getting the mini reward. You get little dopamine hits. You get the feel-good factor from telling people before you've even done the first step. Instead of telling people, I like to do the reverse opposite. I just don't tell people. Get in the habit of setting goals without succumbing to the temptation to tell everyone. Next, get rid of what I call semi-friends. This is one of those things that I realized very, very recently, especially in my 30s. You don't need a massive social group of people because of social media, because of all these movies we've been watching, and because you're 20s usually. If you go to university and places like this, it's a big social group. When you actually go into your career, when you become, a little bit late 20s, 30s, you start to realize that, oh my God, I don't have a huge social group. I don't have a huge number of friends. And you start to think that that is a problem. Let me tell you, the weird thing is the huge social group. It's very normal for people to have smaller social groups. I only have a couple friends. 2 of my best friends are not even in my country, and I don't even talk to them every day. Every 3 months, when something comes up, or when they send me a text, or when I send them a text, we have a conversation. But it's this trust that whenever something big happens in our lives, we'll be there for each other. That's a good friend. You need those friends, and maybe they're not even in the same country as you. You don't need all these semi-friends, right? These acquaintances, usually from different things you've had, university friends, high school friends, that, you don't really want the best for them, except in a very superficial sense. You're like, oh yeah, no, I wish well for them. But they're just semi-friends. They're not real friends that you can rely on in times of need. And in fact, what's worse is that a lot of these semi-friends are gonna bring you down. Some of them like to talk behind your back. Some of them like to kind of slyly joke at you. Some of them make you feel like what you're trying to do is not a great thing to do or not a cool thing to do. And they'll do these in very, very indirect ways that you don't even know is confining you to your current reality. It's better to have no friends than to have friends like that. So be brutal about it like I was. I was just like, okay, I'm done with that stuff. So I don't really have these semi-friends. I don't go out to these engagements. When there was this meeting, they were like, oh, okay, let's all meet up and do this thing. I said, no, I can't do that. And this is really weird for me because normally I would just go to all these social gatherings because I'm generally quite an extroverted person. But I realized after I said no, I could do this every time. Like, I don't actually have to go to these engagements. So get rid of your semi-friends. Next, the next thing is to spend your focus wisely because it's the only thing you really control. If you think about it, the thing that you really control is what you focus on, what you listen to, what you look at, what you smell, your perception. That's your most basic thing that you get to control. You get to control how your body moves, which chair you sit on. And then the thoughts that come out of it sometimes are second order. They are decided by what you decide to perceive. The clearest example of this is with Instagram, with these social media apps. The only thing you can control is the fact of whether you're gonna focus on it or not, whether you're gonna look at it or not, whether you're gonna hold the phone up or not. Because the thoughts that come after you've perceived it are controlled by the algorithm and the content. Many of you will know that if you make the mistake of opening the Instagram app and you go on the search bar and you see all kinds of things that are just too dopamine hitting, all your interests and hidden interests just laid out in a perfect algorithmic order, you look at it and you spend like 20 minutes scrolling reels, 30 minutes, and you forget what you even came onto the app to search for. I'd go on search to look for some Japanese denim brand because they had an Instagram page. I wanted to look at their product, and then I'd be caught in this cycle of reels only to wake up after 30 minutes. If you don't control this, if you don't control your focus, you will be a slave to these apps, to these algorithms, to these content producers. So what you got to do is actively shift your focus, or audit your focus is maybe a better word, where you limit your time on these apps. I've deleted Instagram off my phone. I'm really looking for ways to delete or just not have YouTube Shorts at all on my phone either. But because I use YouTube as an app, so I don't want to get rid of that, but I would love to get rid of Shorts as a feature on it. Don't trust that you will be able to resist the reels with your willpower. Just don't perceive it in the first place. Spend your focus wisely. Next, people don't actually care as much as you think about you. You think that you've had this cringy moment, or you've had this awkward moment, or this big fallout, and everybody's talking about it, everybody's thinking about it, and they're really like talking and thinking about how you are cringe, how you messed up. Like, you play these brain scenarios in your head, right? Everyone's doing that. Everyone's doing that about themselves, because everyone is obsessed about how other people perceive them, that they don't have the time and the mental RAM to really be thinking about you that much. If you don't believe me, just look at how much attention you give to these people when you scroll through your Instagram feed and you see some person, some friend from ages ago doing something different and weird. How much attention do you pay to him or her? You really don't, right? You're like, meh, yeah. That's it, because you're caught up in your own stuff. Now, what does this mean? On the one hand, you might think this is quite sad, quite lonely, nobody cares about me. But on the other hand, it's one of the most freeing things if you are someone that is caught by your social fears and fear of judgment and fear of people like not approving of you. It's the most freeing thing. A perfect example is when I started this YouTube channel. Most people that fail to start a channel or are scared to start are scared because they're scared of what other people will say about it. Their high school friends, their families, their cousins, their friends, and this specific group of people that are going to get together and laugh and mock you for your video, and you're making these videos now, fitness videos, and then you don't start ever because you're scared of them. But those people that in your brain that are imaginarily gathering to make fun of you, they don't do that. They're freaking obsessed about themselves and their own self-image. I know, because I met a lot of these friends. They don't even watch my stuff. They don't watch my videos. They don't really care. I've genuinely met the people and they don't watch, they don't care. So just focus on you. Next. So let's say you decide, okay, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel, or I'm gonna start this side project, I'm gonna start this t-shirt business, whatever it is that you're thinking of doing, but you're kind of scared to do because of judgment, because of failure. This is what I would say to you. Your action is the real measure of intelligence. Most people like to plan and think things through and say, oh, I have this cool idea that it's going to connect people from all over the world and this app is going to be amazing. Oh, I have this t-shirt idea, but it's going to be different because the sourcing and the stitching and the design, it's all in your head. None of that means jack shit unless you put it into action. It's the same thing. Those keyboard experts that are like, oh, actually the scientifically optimal way to train your biceps is to do negative partial reps. What the hell are you talking about? Your muscle is only going to grow if you go and lift weights. Don't be that guy, the wheelchair philosopher, the keyboard analyst that sits behind the brain, that uses the brain as the protective layer before getting involved in anything, before trying anything. And these people, what they like to do is overanalyze situations that they never went into and come up with all kinds of reasons why you shouldn't do that thing, because you know too much, right? I would never get into the fashion industry because I already know this, that. I would never try this because of this. You know only the stuff you know through your body and through your experience. If you have an idea, whether it's making videos, whether it's starting in the gym, whatever it is, do the thing and learn from it rather than thinking about it and protecting yourself from the fall. Next, shortcuts do exist. Okay, you've heard all your life, okay, there's no shortcut, you gotta pay your dues. In some respects this is right, but why do you think the human race was able to rapidly develop in so many areas? Why do you think you were able to rapidly excel in certain things that you're good at? Shortcuts do exist, and for the smart people that can see it, you can take it. Let me give you just an example. Let's say you wanted to get better at dressing well, right? You wanted to improve your fashion sense. What would you do? Would you just start putting on random stuff and just start figuring it out all on your own in the hope that you land on a cool outfit? No, you would maybe look at some people that work in that field, that are very knowledgeable in that field. You would learn from them. You would look at the mistakes that they made and the things that they tell you, and apply those lessons. Maybe you're there right now thinking about starting a business, starting a YouTube channel, building a great body, dressing better, starting jiu-jitsu, whatever it is that you want to do in this new year. You're thinking, okay, you have this plan of what you're going to do. What about a shortcut? There is a shortcut to that, which is to go to the person that's done it before. It doesn't have to be the world's best expert, but go to the person who's 2 steps, 3 steps, 5 steps ahead of you. Go to the person who's made those mistakes that a lot of people make and learn from them. You might have to pay them, you might have to invest, but that's exactly how you buy back your time so that you learn faster and get there quicker than everyone. And time is the most valuable thing, because if you spent 10 years trying to build a business that you could have done in 3, you've wasted 7 years and now you're 40 years old. And at 40 years old, you're gonna wish that you paid that money to save 7 years. Now, if that thing that you want to improve is your body, you want to get healthy, build muscle, lose fat, and look great, check out the link below, Minimalist Training Club. That is the shortcut that you can have when building a lean and aesthetic body. I'm going to teach you personally. Next, one story that I read recently from Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth, is these 2 Buddhist monks were walking across some field, and there was this pond that a young woman couldn't get across. And the young woman asked this Buddhist monk, "Can you carry me across, because I cannot go across the water?" And the older monk took the girl on his back and helped her across the pond, put her down, and the young monk just followed along. And afterwards, when they were walking off, the young monk was just confused. He was furious. He couldn't understand how a monk that he respected, the senior monk, could do such a thing. You're not supposed to like mix with women or touch women's bodies in their practice. So how could this guy do that? And he's thinking about it, and then finally he says to the senior monk, "Mr. Miyagi, how could you do that? We're not allowed to do that. Like, why would you do this? How can you carry her on your back?" And the senior monk goes, "I put her down across the river 2 hours ago, yet you're still carrying her." So who was truly carrying the woman? This guy had just done this thing and he'd let that go. There was the whole field ahead of him and he's just living the present moment. But the young monk was caught in the past and carrying her, metaphorically speaking, in his mind constantly and making it a problem for himself. What kind of things are you doing in your life that you're carrying, you're choosing to carry as a burden in your life that you could have laid down and let go of many hours, weeks, months, or years ago? There is only the moment. There's only the moment, and this present moment is everything that there is. And a lot of the stresses, the problems, the anxieties that we have come from thinking about the future, worrying about the future, regretting things and thinking about the past. And if you just live like this moment is all there is, then you're going to be so much more grateful and happy in your life. Hope this makes sense. Hope some of those things hit home for you, and I hope this video makes your 2025 more fruitful and meaningful and purposeful. If you like this video, share it with a buddy, leave me a comment, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.